Wow. So much has happened over the last few days. Can the Fed save them all? Because people are starting to lose faith in banks. It happened in 2008. It's happening again. And it happened before 2008 too. I don't want to say it's just like the only bank closures happened in 2008. No, it happened before. But 2008 was the prime example of basically everything going under, and everything had to be bailed out, right? And that's what seems like is going to happen. The U.S. government moves to stop potential banking crisis. So they started with SV Bank first. Obviously, I covered this morning, right? A lot of banks in trouble right now, okay? And I will get to the whole list. But SV Bank was the biggest that they needed to resolve right away. So the Fed, FDIC, and the Treasury all came together and said, okay, we will bail them out. I don't care what anyone says. There's some people that's arguing, oh, no, it's not a bailout. No, it's for sure a bailout, okay? So even people that are not insured, you know, the FDIC insurance goes up to $250,000. Even people that have more, or companies that have more, they are all able to withdraw, okay? Now, why is this a bailout? Because basically, whatever that isn't there, whatever that SV Bank lost, they will basically get bailed out. The Treasury Department there was something in here about the Treasury Department is issuing up to $25 billion, okay, towards this new Fed lending program, which they call the Fed facility, right? And basically, you could borrow by actually putting down your bonds as collateral, right? And that in itself is really screwed up. The U.S. government doesn't have any money, right? How could they lend out money that they borrowed in the first place from companies, and now they're lending it back to them? It doesn't actually make a whole lot of sense. But basically, everyone decided, you know what? You can't let SVB Bank fail. They're just too big. And I said that, right? I'm like, there's just no way. They're going to bail them out. President Biden also did a very quick 5-minute press conference and said, hey, we will do whatever needed to save our banks. We need to reassure to the American people that banks are safe and you could keep your money there. And then he storms off without taking any questions. So bottom line is this. We went through a 2008 moment. We don't want to go through another 2008 moment. So it's not just the Fed that's doing a lot of bailouts these days. The National Bank of Switzerland, Swiss National Banks, confirms it will provide massive liquidity to Credit Suisse. $54 billion to be exact. Right? We know. We've been hearing about Credit Suisse having problems. A lot of bad investments over the past few years. Lost tens of billions of dollars. Lost consumer confidence. Its stock is tanking. Yet despite all of that, they are deemed just too big to fail at this point. So the Central Bank of Switzerland decided to give them a huge cash injection. Now, if they run through that $54 billion injection, I don't know if they're going to get another one. That is quite a large bailout, right? ECB just decided to raise rates by 50 basis points. So this is the other thing that's happening this morning that's causing banks to collapse, basically. A lot of European banks, their stocks are getting hammered because of this. I mean, this is to be expected, okay? The ECB, they have been really, really behind with the rate hikes. Nowhere close to what Fed Powell has done. So obviously they need to continue going. They can't stop like Powell. They can't slow down. Before I move on, I want to talk about privacy really quick. Are you concerned about your internet activity being monitored? Or are you concerned that centralized exchanges are tracking your location through your IP? If so, and you want to keep your activity and location private, then check out NordVPN. NordVPN helps protect your online privacy and security through their virtual private network spread across the world. Using NordVPN, you can hide your IP address, encrypt your internet connection, shielding your digital life from prying eyes like internet service providers, network administrators, crypto exchanges, and even from the government. NordVPN uses military-grade encryption and has a strict no-log policy to keep your data safe from hackers and cyber criminals. Plus, with over 5,000 servers in 59 countries, you can easily access the internet anywhere in the world while being protected. Whether you're at home or on the go, NordVPN has you covered. If you want to learn more about NordVPN, check out the URL in the description of this video. We're hearing a lot about it in the US. First Republic Bank, right? A lot of crazy swings. We had a minus 60 or 70% day with their stock, then plus 60%. Now they're falling 35% once again because people are starting to understand maybe there are some banks you're not supposed to bail out. Maybe not everything should be bailed out. Maybe if a mismanaged bank has mismanaged billions of billions and tens of billions or hundreds of billions of assets, maybe we should not trust them, even with a bailout. We know at First Republic just got a bailout too. They got a huge injection and a loan, and I think JP Morgan also gave them a loan. I mean, there was a lot of stuff that was thrown at them, right? But people are still distrusting of banks. Where's the money coming from? Again, out of thin air. So now it's being reported that this emergency Fed facility program, this new loan program for the banks, could cost the U.S. another $2 trillion. Not just a few billion. Billions means nothing these days. Not just 10 billion, not just 100 billion. We're talking about another possible $2 trillion being created and being loaned out to the banks. So you tell me how inflation is ever going to come down when we have to print trillions upon trillions upon trillions upon trillions every single year. It's not even like we're waiting 10 years. We just printed like 6 trillion the last 2 years. Now we have to print another 2 trillion just as a loan to the banks, and that's on top of our deficit this year, which is already $2 trillion. So that's another 4 trillion. You see how it's getting out of hand. That's why people are turning to Bitcoin. Even Morgan Stanley's own analyst is saying this is Bitcoin's moment to shine. And why do they feel this way? Bitcoin was created as a way for anyone to hold value in a private digital wallet without needing an intermediary bank to hold the value for them or to facilitate transactions. Basically, you get to be your own bank. You get to hold your own money. You don't have to worry about bank runs or fears or closures, right? You get to control your own money. That's exactly right. That's why Bitcoin was created, right? So even analysts from banks are now starting to say, yeah, go buy some Bitcoin. Go buy some Bitcoin. Banks are looking weak once again. Well, that's good for Bitcoin, right? Because that's why Bitcoin is up 50% this year, beating stocks, gold, and banks. Who are you going to turn to? When you take your money out of the bank, who are you going to turn to, right? Like, where else you go park your money? Bitcoin. That's where.